How much of our life is shaped by genetics? For many, fighting bad genes becomes a lifelong struggle, especially when it affects health. Fortunately, science may soon offer solutions, or even enhancements, by editing the human genome. Let's dive into 10 fascinating facts about genetics. Thanks to modern education and access to information, most people today know that all living organisms have genes. But in ancient times, people could only guess how traits were passed from one generation to the next. They experimented with crossbreeding plants and animals, hoping for better outcomes, though without understanding the reasons behind their success or failure. The philosophers of ancient Greece made early contributions to the idea of heredity. They believed children inherited characteristics from their parents, both physical and internal. Though many of their theories were flawed, they laid the foundation for the concept of inheritance. For example, Parmenides and Anaxagoras believed the embryo's position in the womb determined whether a child would resemble the mother or father. Today that seems laughable, but they didn't have microscopes or ultrasound machines. The science of genetics is relatively new. It began in 1865 with Gregor Mendel's experiments on peas. Mendel discovered that traits are inherited as discrete, independent units. In 1909, biologist Wilhelm Johansen named these units genes. This marked the first major phase of genetics, focused on plants and breeding experiments. A new era began in the 1950s, when James Watson and Francis Crick identified DNA's structure and its role as the carrier of genetic information. Earlier, selective breeding helped create new dog breeds and plant varieties by choosing desired traits. But modern technology allows for precise gene editing. In a way, geneticists today are like hackers, hacking the code of life. And while the term hacker often brings to mind a criminal in a hoodie, not all hackers are bad. Some work for good, and genetics is their frontier. Unfortunately, not all history in genetics has been so progressive. In the Soviet Union, during Stalin's rule, genetics was declared a bourgeois pseudoscience. Trofim Lysenko, a Soviet agronomist, gained political favor with a seed treatment method using cold and moisture. His success made him influential, but his views were scientifically unsound. Lysenko rejected evolution and the concept of genes, claiming that environmental factors alone determined traits. This fit well with Soviet ideology, which emphasized the power of the collective and environment over heredity. Under his influence, real geneticists were persecuted, imprisoned, or executed. For nearly 30 years, Soviet genetics fell behind the rest of the world, damaging agriculture and food production. It wasn't until the 1960s that Lysenko's ideas were finally rejected, and scientific genetics could develop freely in the USSR. In 1972, American scientists launched a new era, genetic engineering. At Stanford University, researchers inserted new genes into bacteria, creating recombinant DNA. This breakthrough marked the beginning of controlled genetic modification. In the 1990s, Spanish researcher Francisco Mojica discovered repeating sequences in bacterial DNA. These sequences, later named CRISPR, turned out to be part of a microbial immune system, storing memories of past viral infections. Scientists learned that CRISPR, along with a protein called Cas9, could cut and replace genes with precision. French scientist Emmanuel Charpentier and American researcher Jennifer Doudna took the next leap. They applied CRISPR-Cas9 to edit DNA in any organism and won the 2020 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for their work. CRISPR is now used in 3 major areas. First, for research, studying gene functions in various biological processes. Second, in biotechnology, to enhance crops and animals, improving resistance to disease and removing undesirable traits. This could lead to healthier, more resilient humans, though it raises serious ethical questions. Would you want to live in a society where people are engineered to be perfect? CRISPR also plays a role in therapy, helping make human DNA resistant to viruses like HIV. One success story involves children with spinal muscular atrophy. CRISPR has been used to repair broken genes, giving them a new chance at life. In 2018, China made headlines when twin girls named Lulu and Nana were reportedly born after a controversial gene editing experiment. A Chinese scientist edited their embryos to make them resistant to HIV, then implanted them through IVF. This sparked global outrage. The editing might affect future generations, and the work was done in secret. The scientist disappeared shortly after, and little is known about his fate. While the twins are reportedly healthy, the ethical debate continues. Beyond humans, gene editing is being applied to animals. One example is Enviropigs, genetically modified pigs created by Canadian researchers. These pigs process phosphorus more efficiently, reducing environmental pollution from animal waste. Another futuristic idea is to encode cryptocurrency keys into mouse DNA, turning mice into living wallets. Though not yet real, it shows how far genetic manipulation might go. More and more people are also taking DNA ancestry tests to learn about their heritage. In one surprising case, two lifelong friends, Walter McFarland and Alan Robinson, discovered they were biological brothers, thanks to a DNA test. Another case involved a white nationalist who was shocked to learn he was 14% African, based on his genetic profile. The cosmos also leaves a mark on human DNA. In a NASA experiment, astronaut Scott Kelly spent a year aboard the ISS while his twin brother Mark remained on Earth. Scott's body underwent noticeable changes, including elongated chromosomes and altered gene expression. Remarkably, some parts of his biology appeared 10 years younger in space, though they reverted once he returned. This experiment revealed that even identical twins can become genetically different through extreme conditions. For decades, scientists have also studied how genetics affects aging. In experiments on mice, rats, and monkeys, they've increased lifespans by up to 20%. By stabilizing the genome, rejuvenating brain cells, and fighting age-related decline, scientists believe humans may one day live well past 100 in good health. Replacing worn-out organs and curing deadly diseases could become possible. Living to 150 without joint pain or wrinkles sounds tempting, but ethical concerns remain. Would people embrace this power or fear its consequences? Perhaps we'll soon find out. Thanks for watching this video until the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope to see you again soon.